Dr. Shane Rettig.
Mr Speaker. Thank you, Mr Speaker. Here at the last call, the last reading, I'd like to just address a few questions around urgency. The question of urgency was raised many times during the committee, and the question was asked, why did the committee in this bill sit under urgency? And I'd like to summarise some points. First of all, we've already mentioned the UN Security Council 2178, and that was passed no more than a few months ago by the UN Security Council. Requires member states to act against foreign terrorist fighters. Now, if the UN Security Council had urgency to act, so should we, Mr Speaker. And I'd like to read verbatim part 10 of that resolution. The Security Council stresses the urgent need to implement fully and immediately this resolution with respect to foreign terrorist fighters. Underscores the particular and urgent need to implement this resolution with respect to those foreign terrorist fighters who are associated with ISIL, ANF and other cells, affiliates, splinter groups or derivatives of Al-Qaeda, and it goes on. I make my point on the urgency that's conveyed in that clause. I think the second point, Mr Speaker, is the Cricket World Cup, as has been commented. It starts on February the 14th next year, 2015, and as an international fixture and focus, our internal responsibilities and safety are paramount. I think the last thing I'd like to comment on, Mr Speaker, is the contextual urgency, because the risk in New Zealand has risen from very low to low. It is not a zero risk. The risk, Mr Speaker, is possible but not expected. So let's put this in a context that we can understand, that New Zealanders might understand. Last week I spoke to an earthquake expert at GNS Science, and it turns out that the moment before the Canterbury earthquake, the risk was possible but not expected. Mr Speaker, we need to live in a real world with all the challenges and benefits that brings. And with this bill, we seek to work with New Zealanders to offer protection for New Zealanders at home, for New Zealanders overseas, and for the innocents abroad. In conclusion, Mr Speaker, as a member of this committee, we have heard evidence in private describing the terrorist risk to New Zealanders, and I am persuaded that this bill is essential, that it is essential now, and that it is fit for purpose, and I commend it to the House.
Dr. Kennedy Graham.